from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nut podcast number 1954. Fun Friday. Celebrate your family history. Yes. And our question for you tonight is, what's one fun genealogy discovery that keeps you smiling? Yeah, I have to think about it. Oh, that's right. The corns on the feet. So my funny story, the one that keeps me smiling every time I think about it, is when my mum and I were in the National Archives. Very, very quiet place. This is in New Zealand, very, very quiet place. We were talking a whisper on a whisper, very, very quietly, and it had that old dusty, musty smell. It was a great atmosphere in this place, and they had the fluorescent tubes over here, but it's kind of a little dingy and dark, but we could read the thing. They bring out the coroner's report for my second great grandfather, and and we're reading through it, and we both got to the same part at the same time and started laughing. And they had one of my second great because what had happened was in May he had fallen off the barge in the Clutha River, and they couldn't find him and recover him. It wasn't until August when they found his body, and so they took it out of the river, took it down to the main pub, laid him out on the table there, and had the inquest. Pubs in those days were your general social community center thing. They did school in there. They did church services in there. They had used it as a courtroom. They used it for the pub. They used it for just about any community event, including coroner's inquests. And so they asked one of his co-workers how he knew that this was Henry Brazier, my second great grandfather. And the guy turns around and said he was able to identify him because the boots on his feet were specially made for him. Because they were able to identify him by the boots on his feet. And the coroner asked him what's so special about the boots on his feet. And he turns around and says they were specially made to fit around the corns on his feet. And my mum and I read that, and we just started chuckling. I mean, it was a very somber occasion because we're reading the coroner's report for my second great grandfather, her great grandfather, about this, who had tragically drowned in the river. And here we are laughing over his coroner's report because he was identified by the boots on his feet that were specially made for him. So that's our little fun story. So what other things can you do on a fun Friday with genealogy topics? That brings out the fun. We're celebrating family history. So what other things can we do? Let's have a look. We could do genealogy games. So you could do fun activities like an ancestor bingo. Yeah. Creating a crossword puzzle using family names and facts. That's always a good one. You could do a word search where they've got to look for ancestors' names. What else could you do? You can even do a maze where you have to, or who are these people, like baby pictures. So get out baby pictures, and they've got to guess who the babies are in the pictures. Those are always fun ones, especially if you have, like, for example, my parents took up to my brother's place a slideshow of my brother when he was from 8 weeks through to, I think, 15, 16 or something like that. And they put the slideshow on, and everybody was amazed when the first photo came up. Was my brother when he was 8 weeks old. My brother's youngest son, who had just been born, was also 8 weeks old at the time when they were doing this. They looked the same. And so Mum sent me a picture of the two side by side. The only difference was one was in black and white and one was in color. So those are always the fun games to play. Who is this baby? Because if you've got two black and white pictures and they look the same, it could be a father and a son. You don't know. It could be, it could be a grandfather and a child. You don't know. So it's always fun to do those sort of things to see, and then you can find the family resemblance and things like that. Celebrate your genealogy wins. Reflect on success finds or breakthroughs in research, and celebrate with the family. Guess what I found today? I finally found that. I finally found that record that we'd been looking for, and and off you go and all that, and everybody's like, yay! And someone will be like, yeah, okay, fine, congratulations. Because there are some people in the family who really don't care about their family history, and that's fine. But you have the information together for when they do become interested in those facts and things. You can do creative story ideas, creative storytelling. Turn research into entertaining formats such as skits, poems, comics. Anything to engage the younger generations. You know how some schools will do will act out roles in history for different celebrations and things. They will act out certain roles in history and stuff. Why not do it for your own family history? Put your own little skits on and things like that, especially when you learn some of the stories and things. It makes great entertainment and it helps the kids remember their family history as well. Kids putting on skits or writing poems, singing songs and all of that you see them doing during school about different times in history is really great, really cute. But guess what? The kids remember it because they're engaged. So if you get the family engaged in, at the next family reunion or something, maybe somebody's written a song about an ancestor. Maybe there's already maybe one of your ancestors have already been immortalized in a song. You can find that, or in a poem. Find fun things that you can do to tell the story of your ancestors. You could do icebreakers. Share fun ways. Sorry, I'm reading my own notes. Some fun ways to get relatives talking about family history at holiday gatherings are asking questions like, who's the most mysterious ancestor? Who is the worst ancestor? Who was the first ancestor to do blah, 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 blah. You can come up with these icebreaker questions at holiday times, and especially if you've got a house that's been in the family for generations, even pick out some of those facts, like, who slept in this room? Where's do you know where the secret passage is? Do you know where this is? Do you know where that is? Just fun things that you can find that would help help have fun ways. Maybe you could even do, that game where you put a card on your head or something, and it's got like a person's name on there or an animal or something, and you have to go around and ask people yes or no, ask people questions that can only be answered in yes or no, and you have to try and guess who the card is here. Maybe you could do that with some of your relatives as well, with some of the more well-known relatives and your ancestors in your tree. Find unusual records. Explore unique and underused records for fun, like the Guinness World Records. Do you have a family member who was mentioned in the Guinness World Records at some point in time? Look for entries in unusual databases. So it could be, maybe you have an ancestor who was had a part in a movie or a play or something like that, and they may not have been in the main characters. They could have been a supporting actor in the movie, in the back scenes or something. They could have been an extra, a walk-on. They could have been working on the sets. They could have been the stunt person. Look up cast records. Look, if you go into something like IMDb, they've got like the lists of actors who were in different movies and stuff. Start using IMDb. And IMDb stands for International Movie Database, I think it is. I don't know. All I know is that whenever I want to find out anything about a particular actor or a program or a movie that I'm watching and things like that, I go to IMDb. There's some great information to be found in there. In fact, when I was looking up Bud Eakins, who was the stunt double for Steve McQueen in The Great Escape and also the driver in Bullet, even though he wasn't mentioned, he wasn't given the credits in Bullet, I was able to get a lot of genealogy information from there that I could then go and verify, because it had that, who his parents were, what his real name was, who his parents were. And as soon as I saw his middle name, I thought, I know which family he belongs in. Because it was a certain family that had that particular middle name. But they had listed there who his parents were. Then they had who he got married to. And then when you go to when you went to the information on her page, she had a whole bunch of family information on there as well. So it made it easy. It gave me a good jump start on his family tree to see where in my tree he fitted. But as soon as I saw his middle name, I knew exactly where he fitted in the tree. So, there's fun things like that. Go onto IMDb, start searching last names of your relatives and see if you can find anybody in there who's already on your tree and see if they show up in there, and then start verifying the records to see if that actually was that person or was it somebody else who happened to have the same name. Look at, just find any unusual database. So that's one, IMDb. You've got the Guinness World Records. Check the things like all the awards and stuff that they have over the years. Did you have a family member that won a Pulitzer Prize or a Nobel Peace Prize for something? Look up all the different awards and commendations that are out there. I mean, did they win a scholarship? Look at the university records. Did they win a scholarship? Were they known at the university for something, or at college or at school? Look up all these different places, because it will. Each little piece that you find is another piece to the puzzle of learning who this person was. Sorry, Zeffy's wanting scratches right now. Just almost done, sweetie girl. And then ancestor superlatives. So, go through your ancestry tree, and if you've got photographs, you could have an awards night. Who had the best beard, who was the biggest risk taker, who was the most likely to succeed. Just those sorts of fun awards that you can have every now and again at whatever functions. Do it with your ancestors. Really? Somebody so seriously wants to play. But look for those sort of things. Award titles to your ancestors. Give them an award. Come up with your own version of an Oscar and award them to your ancestors for the best beard, the biggest risk taker, most likely to succeed, the one who immigrated the furthest. So if somebody left England, did they end up in New Zealand or Australia? Did they end up in the United States? Did they end up in Canada? Did they start on one side of the States and ended up on the other side of the States? Who was the biggest, who took the longest journey? Who had the biggest journey? Things like that. You okay? Okay. Tell you she's funny. So there's just some fun things that you can do with your genealogy to engage the family, to help them learn their own history and help you solidify things in your mind as well as you're researching everything. So with that, we are out of here. Don't forget, we've got the gift certificates that are still available until the 23rd of December. And just scan the code up here. It will take you right to our shop where you can read all the information about the gift certificates. But basically, buy the 3-hour Explorer package and get 6 hours of research done for you, or buy the 5-hour Voyager package and get 10 hours of research done for you. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey,